Hi, everybody. Today I'm here with Chloe Miller. Chloe, do you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a poet primarily, I also write essays. I live here in Washington, D.C., and I teach writing as well.
Very cool. When did you start writing?
I was a kid. I've always written. My parents would buy me these journals and I would just journal my thoughts, and then they started to take some form over time.
Have you always written poetry, or have you kind of spread out and that's what you like the best? Or
I primarily write poetry. I've been trying my hand some more at I've been writing personal essays for the last couple of years. I've been trying to write a longer memoir, and I've been slowly learning more and taking classes for writing children's books too.
very cool.
See what happens.
It's fun to like kind of branch out sometimes, I think, too.
It feels really good, and they all influence each other and teach me something new. Usually my poems start off really long and I think this will be an essay, it could be a novel, and then suddenly it's this tiny thing if I edit it down. So it's an interesting process.
Right. When did you first publish?
I think the first poem that I submitted and published was accepted in high school at a journal out of Long Island. And then I started to submit more regularly to the high school literary magazine, and then college, and then some larger journals.
Very cool. What do you think is the hardest challenges you face as a writer or as a poet, or trying to submit? Or
I mean, it's hard not to talk about the pandemic and having a child at home, and the child's been learning from home and we've been working from home. So really just time and space to think has been the biggest challenge. It's always really fun to write that first draft, and then it's harder to edit. And then I like to, when I'm teaching, I like to think of like the different mindsets, that when I'm not feeling creative or generative, that's a good time to sit down and edit, or do kind of what I consider the clerical work of publishing, of looking up places that are open, making lists, prizes I might be looking towards submitting to, or residencies, and then starting to submit and keep that Excel spreadsheet up to date. So there's kind of always something to do, but the hardest part is just finding the time to sit down and do it at this point.
In a non-pandemic.
Yeah, including, I mean, there's always so many balls in there.
Believe me, I completely understand. Do you have like a certain writing ritual? Do you always go to a certain spot, or, like listen to music or anything when you write?
The most successful writing I've had has been when I can do something not writing related first, either taking a walk or doing some cooking, something with my hands, or just kind of looking out in the world, thinking a little bit. And yeah, and then words come, but it's not always possible.
Do you have any advice for young writers or people that think, oh, maybe I want to try writing or poetry?
I think we put it on this pedestal and say only these people are writers because they've published, but really it's a way of being and seeing, to be an artist, to think about things, to process them. It doesn't matter if you've been published or not published. What matters is that you do the work, and part of that is thinking, looking, experiencing life, and then translating it into something. And I think finding your tribe is really important. You need people, and there can be all different kinds of people. I always say I show everything to my mom and she loves it and it's super helpful, and you need that encouragement. Right. My husband used to be a newspaper writer, a journalist, and he's really good at being exact and correct and punctuation. And then I have poet friends who are really good with the form. I mean, there's so many people you can reach out to for different things to help strengthen your work, because you read it and you either love it or despise it. But I never feel an in between.
I always feel like mine's not good enough. Yeah. Like it could be better, but I understand what you mean. You need those,
but you don't know how.
Right.
It's hard to step back and look at it critically. And you leave it to marinate and then you forget about it.
Yeah,
You need
exactly.
some other voices.
What, where could we find your works?
So I linked everything on my website. Can I put it in the chat? Is
Sure,
that
sure.
here? Here is the link. It's chloeelenamiller.com. And I linked to everything on there. A Google search might work. I don't know. And so I sell both of my books. I have a chapbook, Unrest, which was published by Finishing Line Press in 2013, which is for sale directly from the publisher or from me. And then I have Viable, which came out this February from Lily Poetry Review Books, and it's available through the publisher, my website, if you're looking for a signed copy, or wherever books are sold, they can order it.
Those have great covers.
Thanks. They're this photograph I took myself, and then my husband helped to design the layout and the lighting. And then Martha, I don't pronounce her last name correctly, McGlue, designs the covers for Lily Poetry Review Books, and she did a great job with an actual sonogram.
I was going to say, is that a sonogram?
It is. I love the coloring and the layout that she chose. I think it looks really great.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. And it's great to see the whole collection of the books from the press, and the covers are so different from each other with the same artist. It's really amazing.
Very cool. Is there anything else you would like to discuss or chat or let us know? Or
I think the most surprising thing I've learned during the pandemic is how much I was not using social media to make connections, people like you and other poets for readings and workshops and groups and festivals. And I found so much through social media groups on Facebook and Twitter and following other writers. And we're all so happy to connect with each other. It's been really exciting to make these connections.
I know everybody's been super friendly and like supportive, and you don't see a lot of that. So it's social media is definitely a good place for writers.
It's really amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for stopping by today and having this chat. I appreciate
it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.